So welcome everyone. We are here for the Detroit TSU Foundation Think, Work, Serve speaker series. This is our second speaker, Jeane Stewart. She's currently the Detroit TSUAA Foundation treasurer and a board of directors member. She's a former Detroit area TSU chapter vice president, and she was one of the original donors to the Detroit Tennessee State University Alumni Association Foundation. Thank you, Jeane, for speaking. Please tell us about yourself. I just gave a brief introduction, but what do you currently do? How did you get started with Tennessee State? Let us know your story.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your patience tonight, and thank you, Hadari, for inviting me to speak. I'm actually still in the office today. Had to come in to see my employee off. Today's your last day. So a little bit about me is that I started at Tennessee State because I always wanted to attend an HBCU. My first introduction to Tennessee State was actually through my cousin. Keith Berry played basketball for Tennessee State in the early 80s. So that's my first introduction. Actually, I'm going to say my second. My first is when Tennessee State played Southern in a classic game in Detroit. And my band, my middle school band, I played clarinet in the middle school band at the halftime show of that classic. I think that must have been in probably 87 or 88. So that was my first introduction. I graduated from King High School. My junior or senior year, I went on a Black College tour. On that tour, Tennessee State was one of the schools. At that time, I thought I wanted to go to North Carolina A&T because of Jesse Jackson was one of my heroes back in high school. But on that tour, everyone said, "Oh, you're going to Tennessee State," because my mother had relocated to Nashville to work for General Motors during my junior year of high school. So she was already living in Nashville. My mother is actually the one who applied to Tennessee State for me. And when I showed up on campus, I showed up with a transcript from King High School and a check from my father to pay for the first semester off campus. It was in that registration line that one of the workers of the registration table said, "Your parents paying for school with these grades?" And she told me to put my check away and go see Howard Gentry in Goodwill Manor to go over to the TSU Foundation. So really, I walked up that hill, and an hour later, I walked out with a 4-year tuition, room, and board scholarship. So that's my story of scholarship. And the think part of our Think, Work, Serve motto, I wanted to emphasize to parents and students how to use their high school years as basically a check that you cash at the end of 4 years based on the work you did those 4 years on scholarships and opportunities for higher education. When I came out of Tennessee State, I had already interned for 4 years with Inroads at my sponsoring company, which was Henry Ford Health System, in finance. And so I took a full-time job with them. And after 3 years, I left to pursue my graduate degree full-time in South Bend, Indiana. So I have an MBA in finance from the University of Notre Dame. Since then, I've had over 20 years experience in corporate finance, starting as a senior financial analyst to now as a controller. I work for a tier 1 auto supplier doing finance and accounting. So that's a little bit about me.
So that's an incredible background, and you have a lot of diversity. You went to a PWI for your graduate, and it's a lot of discussion about, should a student go to undergrad for a Black college, or should they pursue the graduate route for a Black college later? Like, what is your advice for a student as they pursue to go for an undergrad degree?
I really don't. I think the person should choose based on what they desire to do personally. Um, I greatly value the fact that I went to a HBCU undergrad. I'm glad I did it that way. I would have to say that coming from a predominantly Black city like the city of Detroit, by the time I got to grad school, that was my first introduction of, I guess, not being or being a minority among the majority. I had gone through to majority Black institutions, K through college. So I would have to say there's a value in diversity and experiences that you get from going to PWI, but I don't recommend anyone do it. It should be an individual choice.
Then as you have matriculated from, Tennessee State and University of Notre Dame, and both are your alma maters, you have continued to give back, particularly to Tennessee State. What motivates you to play the roles you've played as an alumni, particularly both as a chapter member as well as when the Detroit Foundation was established? You probably was one of the youngest founding members of the foundation, and you have continued to give over the years. So what has motivated you to really fulfill that capacity of just giving?
I think it has a lot to do with raising and background. My mother made me give my toys away when I was little, when I was done with them. She taught me how to give away my clothes and only give away things that I could still use that were useful. um, if you didn't like it anymore, then don't give it to anyone else. So I think it had a lot to do with my upbringing, but also because so many people gave to me. I mentioned Inroads, that was full of mentors for me from a very young age. People have poured into me since I was a teen and preteen. So I started giving back as soon as I could. Actually, the moment that Tennessee State asked after I received my presidential scholarship, I was asked to write a letter to the alumni and thank them for giving me that scholarship. And his name was, excuse me, the person was an alumni out of LA. And his name was Dana Lee. So I think that really started my giving back because the university said, you need to thank this alumni. And I always wanted to be that alumni going forward. So I think that's what encouraged me to give back.
At this time, if anybody else has any questions they want to ask Jeanine about her Think Work Serve efforts for the Alumni Association and the foundation and her giving back, please feel free. Just one more question before everyone else jumps in to ask questions, Jeanine. Over the years, one of the biggest struggles for the Detroit Tennessee State University Foundation is to just find new donors. So, what encouragement would you like to give to those who have not given to the foundation in the past, probably are thinking about giving but don't really know how to give, or what to give? Any words of advice you would like to share?
Yes, I would say definitely connect with your local chapter, alumni chapter, or foundation. Start with the activities that they're doing to raise monies locally, because more than likely those monies will go to students that live in your area. So if they're giving a bowling event or a dinner or a movie night, get active with something like that locally. The other thing I suggest is to just log on to the university foundation page. Giving is so easy. It's as easy as purchasing something from Amazon. Just go in, put your credit card number in, and do a one-time donation. Um, I think your prior month speaker series explained to people how to already do recurring donations. That makes it even easier to give it directly out of your paycheck. But I like the set it and forget it idea of giving myself. So those are just a few ways that you can get it done. But I definitely suggest that you get involved. And if you don't have time to get involved, go online and do a straight donation.
you have any questions for Janine, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions at this time.
Janine, this is Dr. Lyons. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Uh, when I look at the National Alumni Association, I look at the National Foundation, Alumni Foundation Board of Directors, not alumni, National TSU National Foundation Board and their efforts. And then I look at the local chapters, and then of course you have TSU administration. I don't see all of those organizations getting together to create true synergy to raise funds and to increase the amount of giving. I guess, what is your take on that, and what kind of recommendations would you have for any and all of those entities to come together for the betterment of TSU?
Yes, I would say my first recommendation is to put our alma mater and her students first. Everything that we do in our efforts, if you're involved in the chapter, if you're involved in a local foundation, if you are an employee at the university working for alumni, working for students, definitely put the goals and the missions of our alma mater and students first, beyond any other agendas. So that's my recommendation. And also, it's to get people in positions in all three of those areas that have business acumen, meaning we can push things forward in a professional way. And also, have fun with each other, enjoy each other's company as alumni and as family, but definitely do things, put people in place who know how to use business processes that I think would serve the university and its students the best.
Thank you. I mean, I think that, that's the sage advice and recommendations. And I just think that more people need to be able to do that and contribute, especially their talents that they have gone out and developed. So you hit it right on the head with it, applying the business concepts and things that we pick up in industry. Thank you.
Yeah, the reason I say that, Dr. Lyons, is because we went off from Tennessee State. All of us entered either into corporations or organizations professionally or started our own businesses. I think the business of Tennessee State needs to be conducted with that same tenacity, that same professionalism, that same organization, that same commitment that we give to corporations. It's deserving of it. And I think if we all do that together, we can create those synergies that you talk about and push the agenda of the organization and the university forward.
Great. Thank you.
Anyone else, please feel free to unmute yourself to ask Janine a question about her Think, Work, Serve philosophy. So Janine, and during your story, you shared about how you went to Tennessee State, and when you got on campus, the person at the bursar's office said, go over to Goodwill Manor so you could get a scholarship. One of the biggest things for our alma mater is always scholarship, scholarship, scholarship. And, we've heard from, various staff members at the university talk about how some students with high scholastic scores and grades get to campus and even complete their first semester, and they have no type of scholarships whatsoever beyond a grant or a loan that they receive. So how do you encourage alumni to really motivate, I guess, the students there we're recruiting, the students who attend there currently that we are connected to? How do you make sure, would you advise an alumni or alumnus to really speak to students to encourage them that they have to be their own voice and mouthpieces to attain a lot of scholarships that are out there, particularly at the foundation level at the university, as well as other outside sources?
Well, I definitely don't recommend that anyone follow the path of my personal story, which is show up on campus with nothing. That's not my advice. That's my personal story, and I'm glad that Tennessee State stepped up in the way that it did. They didn't have to. I recommend that was totally my responsibility, because my mother had applied. All the mail was coming to her house. I'm pretty sure Tennessee State reached out to me with all the scholarship deadlines that I missed. So I had scholarships coming to my house from University of Michigan, Michigan State that I received, but I didn't get those. So I do recommend that people take responsibility for deadlines that are posted on the university's website, write them down, and work backwards towards meeting those, because there is a lot of effort as far as filling out applications, writing essays, getting recommendations. Give yourself enough time, make the process easier on yourself so that you're not so stressed out trying to meet an application deadline that's due next Thursday. Application deadlines are usually published a few months in advance. So if you give your student a chance, you have to realize students are still students during the scholarship application periods. So they have schoolwork to do. Then we're asking them to do applications. It can all be done with the right time management. So I recommend that people definitely manage their time appropriately between school and getting the scholarship applications complete. Research the applications, call the university, see if there's anything that you missed, and definitely talk to your guidance counselors in your high schools, your local organizations, and do a simple Google search and apply to as many that you can, and make it your job. I also want to emphasize that high school is a job. That's the college preparatory period. So I want to emphasize that there are opportunities for students to start taking college entrance prep exams even before 9th and 10th grade. Get them used to seeing those exams so that when they're ready to take it, they can get the best support possible. So those are the recommendations I have.
Appreciate that
Hey,
advice.
Jeanine, yeah, Jeanine, I have another question for you. Sort of piggybacking on Hadari's initial question about some of the differences in your schools, your institutions. And what I would like to know, if from your experience, if you see any major differences in how you are solicited for donations, between your HBCU and your PWI institutions.
Yes, I would say that there definitely is a difference. I give to Tennessee State based on my love and they for the university. They in my involvement ever since the year that I graduated. But my giving back to the PWI institution that I give to is solely based on the fact that they ask me on a regular schedule. They ask me in writing, on the phone. They have my current. They know where I work. They know where I live. They have my current address. They ask for constantly ask for updated information. Our local chapter, has regular activities for alumni to get involved and to give back. One of the great give back opportunities I like for them is that we collect groceries and donate it to the local Salvation Army. So we go through the neighborhoods and collect canned goods and give it to the local Salvation Army. And even during that activity, we're asked to give some information to the university. So,
Okay.
One of the most impressive acts that I think that we can do as TSU, and we've done it here, I think in Detroit chapter, is just get on the phone and call. And I think your previous speaker said that before. They have current students at the university call me, and they know a little bit about me. They know when I graduated, and since they've called people in my class, they'll call the name of someone I attended school with, and they'll say,
Mhm.
well, did you know that Melanie and Tom, who were both in my class, they had their second child. And I didn't know that. Oh, they give me that kind of update, or I'm getting tea, right? So now I'm getting tea. And so can we sign you up for the same donation as last year? Follow it up with that. So
Okay.
drop a little tea, little information about people that I know, and then hit me up for a donation. So
Okay.
so
I,
I think that that personalized script is something that we can utilize more and more. It's effective.
Well, George
right.
McKinney has a question. How should the Tennessee State University Alumni Association try to attract young talent, particularly millennials or Generation Z that's coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the intake process from graduation to entering into the workforce, right? Because that's where you'll lose people, right? If you don't know at the time that they get their cap and gown where they're going, that's the time to connect with. I think with the younger generation. Well, those are not millennials, but the people who are coming out of university currently. You have to close that gap of contact information. So make it a requirement to get a cap and gown or get a diploma or whatever. Just like they put holes in your account, come to career development, let us know where you're working. Come to um, the registration office, our alumni office, and let us know where you'll be living. And then start a recurring act of staying in contact with those people and doing activities that they like to do. It may not just be the same, bowling nights that we've been doing traditionally as Alumni Association. Get the younger people that are out currently to organize activity that their generation likes to do, and and just keep in touch with them, and keep them in mind when you're scheduling activities.
Danya, you have a question? You can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Yes, well, actually, I would like to say thank you so much, Jeanine, for just telling us so much about your experience. And I really like the point where you talked about the students calling you, because I don't know if TSU still does that, but I know at one point they did that. And it was very informative to me because at that time, I did not know. I thought that my donations were going to Detroit students, and I found out that they were going to everyone. Well, for some people, that doesn't make a difference, but I really wanted to impact Detroit students. So I found that information out, in which then led me to participate more in my Detroit alumni. I mean, when those kids call, you can ask those questions and, see where it best fits or where you want your money to go, and how you can benefit students. So I'm glad you brought that up. Also, I was very impressed that you said at one time they had you to call back and thank the person who helped you along the way. Alumni would love to hear that my money is actually going to a person, not just going into a fund and it's just distributed. And I mean, even though that's the purpose of it, but to hear that phone call, it's just very touching. Like, it makes you think that you really are making a difference, and they can maybe tell you their major or somebody from their major, from your particular, like George is the engineer, somebody from the school of engineering, he might reach in his pocket to pull out some more money.
Yeah, that personal contact is
Um,
definitely important.
so I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Who do I get it to? Hello?
Who do you give what to?
The $50 more. I said I'm gonna give $50 more.
Oh, you give it to me. You can write to TSU Foundation.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hello, good people.
Hello.
Hi, Pat. We appreciate you getting on. If you have a question for Janine in regards to her Think, Work, Serve philosophy, and Nadanya, thank you for your donation to give to students from the Detroit chapter, from the Detroit area, I should say, not chapter, but Detroit area. That $50 donation. Please feel free if you want to donate or give
Thank
some
you so much.
additional. Please make that donation directly to TSU Foundation. On behalf of either the Detroit Foundation or the Detroit Book Scholarship, either one.
Hey, is this the first speaker series where we made some money for the university?
Yes, it is, that I know of right now, yes.
You're a trendsetter, Nadanya.
Oh, all right. Me and my little $50.
$50 going once. $50 going
It makes
twice.
a difference.
Anybody else want to
And
jump
Pat,
on
maybe
board?
you better have your son apply for one of those scholarships that they talked about last week. The website is still open, I think, till, what is it, March the 1st, April the 1st, something?
Yes, it is open until April 1st. The scholarships for the University Foundations open up on February 22nd. They will run until April the 5th, not the 1st, April the 5th. So it's still time to apply for those scholarships. So any other questions for our speaker, Janine? All right. Well, Janine, on behalf of the Detroit Tennessee State University Alumni Association Foundation, we appreciate you being our speaker for our Think, Work, Serve speaker series. Appreciate you sharing your stories and insight. So I will give you one last opportunity to share any insightful words to encourage alumni to not only give, but to participate in their local alumni chapters and participate in giving back and helping the university foster its mission of Think, Work, Serve. Any final words or parting words you want to give to us?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening and watching this video, taking time out of your schedule. Everybody who's on the call and everybody who's working, who will watch this video, they're already committed to university. They give back. They're active in activities, and we thank you for that. I guess I would encourage you all to each one reach one and try to get alumni. I've reached out to an alumni who didn't even know he was an alumni because he attended Tennessee State and didn't graduate. And I solicited both his membership and donation to the foundation. So I say all of us who are already active, let's reach out to other people to be active. And to students and parents of students who are listening to this call, go ahead and start the process of getting your scholars ready for scholarships.
Thank you,
And thank you.
Janine. Thank you, Janine, for those encouraging words. Thank you for everyone attending tonight's call. If you would like to hear this call again, we'll see it'll be posted probably within the next day or two on the Foundation's YouTube channel. Please subscribe to that for future updates and videos pertaining to our speaker series and future events going forward. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you again, Janine. Next month, we will have a different speaker and they will elaborate on the history of the foundation. Jonathan, you had something you want to say?
I just want to say hello and to everybody. That's all.
All right.